The Tinder Swindler. The Tudorscope. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Regular viewers will be acquainted with the concept of the Tudorscope, where I place a famous or infamous individual under the Tudorscope to analyse are they a narcissist, and if so, why, and which type are they, utilising my classification by reason of subschool and cadre. If you want to learn more about the subschools and cadres, go to the Knowledge Vault, which you'll find in the menu bar at narcsite.com, and examine the H.G. Mall series. That tells you more about all of the subschools appertaining to lesser and mid-range, and all of the cadres. You, of course, already have excellent access to a variety of videos about the different subschools also, but the H.G. Mall series goes into greater detail. Many of you have become familiar with the recent true crime documentary film, The Tinder Swindler, which directed by Felicity Morris and was released on Netflix earlier this month. The film tells the story of the Israeli con artist Simon Leviev, who used the dating application Tinder to locate individuals who he emotionally manipulates into providing financial support for his lavish lifestyle. We see him flying by private jet, wearing expensive clothing, dining in expensive restaurants, ordering everything off the menu, wanting large amounts of cash, buying gifts, large bouquets of flowers, very much living a lavish lifestyle indeed. I have explained in my video why you should not use online dating, many reasons why you should stay away from that environment, and of course, the three ladies that form the subject of the story involving the Tinder Swindler would do well to remain away from it and should not have ventured there in the first place, but they, like millions of others, are exposing themselves to considerable risks because online dating is a hunting ground for my kind. It is a hunting ground for the narcissist. And I would invite you to ensure that you listen to my video, why you must not use online dating, and share it with anybody that you care about who is looking for love by using the internet. What I explain to you will rightfully chill your blood and cause you to reappraise the use of it for a variety of reasons. The individuals who got caught by this Israeli con artist found themselves caught using Tinder. And it just goes to demonstrate the reach and the manipulative power that's afforded by it, and, notwithstanding what had happened, the fact that this con artist, until being recently banned permanently by Tinder, continued to use it. And, of course, one of the individuals, at least, has returned to Tinder, having clearly not learned her lesson. It would appear necessary for HG to send her the material so that she learns from it. The Tinder Swindler basically is an Israeli man who was born Shimon Hayat, and he travelled around Europe presenting himself as the son of a Russian-Israeli diamond mogul, Lev Leviev. He used the dating app Tinder to contact women as Simon Leviev and tricked them into loaning him money that he then never repaid. He would charm women with lavish gifts and take them to dinners on private jets using money that he borrowed from other women that he had previously conned. He would later pretend that he was being targeted by his enemies, often sending the same messages and images to each woman, pretending that his bodyguard had been attacked, and asking his victims to help him financially. Drawn in by this, they would often take out bank loans and new credit cards in order to help. He would then use the money gained through the deception to lure new victims, while essentially operating what was a Ponzi scheme. Later on, he would pretend to repay his victims by sending forged documents showing fake bank transfers, and then break off contact with the victims. I have watched the film. I also, for reasons that I'm unable to share with you, knew quite a lot about this case whilst it was ongoing and before it hit the screen. And therefore it behooves me, as H.G. Tudor, expert in all matters narcissism, to explain, is this individual a narcissist? Is there something else at work? Perhaps he's not, and there's something else that's driving his behaviours. If he is a narcissist, which type of narcissist is he, by reference to Subschool and Cadre? I will provide you with a detailed breakdown of his behaviours so that, having watched the movie yourself, which if you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to do so that you can be appraised of the material ahead of me taking you through it, so that you can see what's going on. I will explain the dynamic that occurs with regard to the relevant victims. Why were they drawn in the way that they were? Why did they behave in the manner that they did? Of course, there are many who thought how ridiculous sending such large amounts of money to these individuals. And, having perhaps not had the experience of being involved with a man such as he, couldn't understand or fathom out why someone would appear on the face of it to be so utterly naive. I will explain what's going on, what's actually happening in that dynamic to cause people to respond in the way that they did. Were they just having their heads turned? Were the girls involved or the ladies involved gold diggers? Did they just think, here's an opportunity to get my hands on some cash, on a lavish lifestyle? Or was there something far more serious going on that affects both them in terms of his behaviour towards them and their reactions to it? I will explain that because it's just as important to understand what motivated him and what drives his behaviours as to understand why the victims responded as they did, so that this type of information can be made readily available, using a prominent example, to educate people. I will, of course, then explain if he is a narcissist, the reasons why, and the Subschool and Cadre, so that you can then understand more about those relevant Subschools and Cadres and expand your own understanding. I will do this by reference to my easy-to-understand lexicon, utilising my direct and no-punches-pulled approach. Make a note to look out for my forthcoming dissection of the Tinder Swindler, which will be coming within the week. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you already do. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you are warned ahead of time when it appears. And you may wish to consider reducing your subscriptions to other, less interesting channels to ensure that this one does ensure that a notification is provided to you. Prepare yourself as I put the Tinder Swindler under the Tudorscope. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.